that. All right, so here we go. Got everything set up, got everything cleaned off, wiped. So we're getting ready to prime the IC73 Bronco, and we've got everything taped off. So there is some pre-existing liner material. It's already been sanded, scuffed, and washed with some surface prep multiple times, and also got a lot of bare metal and just a lot of body work and stuff that's been massaged and done over time. We're gonna wipe it back down one more time, but it just gives you kind of an idea of what we have going on here. So everything that is or has a thread in it, whether it's a nut zerks or hinges, anything like that. What I ended up doing is just taking a bunch of earplugs and cutting them in half. And there they are. So yeah, earplugs worked out perfectly. Some of them, most of them I cut in half. And then some of them I actually cut into quarters. But anything that has threads in it, on the doors, anything like that, those threads are protected. And of course you might be saying, well, they sell all sorts of silicone cones that you could put in there. You're right, but the cost for me just wasn't worth it. I mean, I would have needed 4 or 5 kits, and they're just really expensive. And for just kind of a one-time use, super easy just to use those foam earplugs. So here's kind of a close-up of what it looks like. So it's gonna be super clean, super clear, looks great, ready to go. Also just use some reverse rolled tape as well, just to help clean that stuff up. But I know it looks a little shiny here, but it is not shiny. Like I said, it's been scuffed with 150 and then also the red scuff pads multiple times, and then surface washed multiple times. So again, get our 2K primer going, fiberglass, got all of our fiberglass bodywork done. It has been a wild 2 weeks on the original Bronco grill. The holes for the license plates have been welded up and massaged. So you'll see where the tape lines are. So basically everything that you see here, not only gonna get a couple 3 coats of primer, but also going to get the Raptor Tintable liner. And the color is going to be magnetic gray. It's a Ford color, looks really cool. Kind of an overview. And you might be asking, like, why did I leave the cage and why did I leave the interior and all this stuff? Yeah, it's a great question. The reality is that I had not planned on doing the interior. And so I was just going to seal all of this off and tape it up with paper and just, be done because I would be shooting the outside. And that's not the case. What I've decided to do is, if you can look across the bed, is I'm actually going to carry that edge over to the natural body line that folds over inside the bed. So that's why I've left it open, so I can easily just get in there and shoot those areas in between the cage. Why didn't I take it out? Because I'm only one person. I don't have the means of getting all of that stuff out, at least not easily and not on my time frame. So those are the reasons I left it in there. So I'm gonna work around it, see what I can get done. I'm pretty confident because, again, these gaps in here, this isn't the exterior. You're not gonna be seeing a ton of stuff. So a little bit of an angle here as opposed to perpendicular and square. I think it's gonna be just fine. All right, so here is the staging area for what we're about to get into. So we're gonna get into some primer. We're gonna use the Raptor 2K epoxy primer. It's a 4:1 ratio. And then we're gonna jump over to our Raptor Tintable liner. And yeah, we've got quite a bit here, probably way more than we need. Some of the stuff we're going to be using is our Upol Grip 4. It's an adhesion promoter. Anytime that you're painting some plastics or some rubberized materials, the adhesion promoter can help if there isn't a great mechanical adhesion or mechanical bond through sanding or otherwise. This can help promote adhesion through a chemical adhesion promotion process. So nonetheless, all right, so just finished rocking out the Raptor 2K epoxy, and it turned out really well. So went with the 2K because I had some bare metal, also had some pre-existing liner that again I scuffed up with 150 and some red Scotch-Brite. Also applied the Upol Grip 4 adhesion promoter on the areas that had the pre-existing liner. It was a different brand, it was Hippo. And everything looks great. Couldn't be happier with it. Everything turned out really well. Got a lot of ventilation moving right now. A lot of plastic moving and stuff. So basically cranked up the heater. It's sitting right at 70 degrees in here. So I just want to maintain that for a while just doing a quick vent. I'm not wearing a respirator, and as soon as I pop it off, it's good and clean. So and we don't have much on the floor actually. So shooting a primer, it's not very invasive in the sense that you do have to tape and of course take care of your floor and stuff like that. But as far as spraying, it's not as invasive as color. I will tell you that color is oh my God, 5 to 10 times more invasive, meaning that it gets into everything. As a matter of fact, it loiters in the air quite a bit. Usually based on pressure and based on the tip that you're using on your HVLP. So anyway, just want to do a quick walk around. It's a few little nibs. I'm really not sweating it. If we were gonna go with an actual paint, I would, but the little nibs that are here are things that I could live with. So the bottom line is there's zero rust. Everything's been prepped properly. Oh my gosh, starting a long time ago with the frame and going from there. So main thing is just protecting this metal, protecting all the metal on the vehicle, and just making sure that everything's done to the best of my ability and what is acceptable to me. So I think it's gonna look fantastic. So we're gonna let this final coat flash off, and being that it's getting later, I'm gonna go ahead and start the Raptor liner tintable first thing in the morning. So I'll just go first thing in the morning, crank up the heat, get it nice and warm in here again, shut her down, and get to it. So just everything seems to be covering very well. The 2K is, it turned out great. So kind of it in a nutshell, a little bit of a walk around, more to come. All right, so here we are on the morning of day 2. Just kind of gave you a walk around on the old Bronco and showed you some of the primer that was laid yesterday into the evening, and I've got 3 coats down on everything. So I'll go through kind of the workstation here, just kind of what I'm going to be doing and explain my process. But just want to go over a couple of things. If you're going to be doing any type of paint, Raptor, whatever it is, if you're spraying yourself, the biggest thing I can tell you to invest in is protective equipment. It really is foolish to be spraying even on an aerosol can because of the chemicals that are in there. And of course, short term, you know, we've all done it. We've sprayed a little something here and there. But the potential long-term effects, or in this case, with these products, these professional grade products, you don't want to mess around. Those are very, very serious chemicals that are in there. So a dust particle mask is not going to cut it. You're going to want to invest in, if you don't already have one, I've got two, and I just picked up new filters just for this project. So you want to invest in a good respirator, something that actually is going to protect your lungs, your respiratory system, from the chemicals that are in some of the things that you're going to be using. Everything here tells you not to inhale it. Don't eat it, drink it, taste it, and certainly don't inhale it. So take heed on those instructions. They're there for a reason, and those warning labels. So protective equipment. You definitely want to invest in a respirator. One of the other things I like is just one of these inexpensive one-piece disposable paint suits. I will say, if you wear a large, get like an extra large. If you wear an extra large, you may want to consider a 2XL. And the reason is that you just don't want this. It's not a fashion show. you're actually just, you want the protection, so that any overspray and things like that gets spilled, or anything that's aerosolized and goes up in the air and lands on you, you want to just be sure that it doesn't land on your skin and doesn't land on you. So, and you want room to move. So when you're out here painting and, you know, you have to get low on the panel, you know, you want room in your paint suit to be able to do that. And then finally, gloves, whatever color, whatever you're into. I like these because these have a little bit of a texture on them. And so not only do they protect your hands, they're nitrile gloves, but they offer just a little bit of grip assistance. So when you're holding your gun, if you end up with a little spillage on there or something like that, the gun doesn't slip out of your hands, or when you're mixing things up. So gloves, respirator, and a suit. Don't forget to wear your bomber shoes. And the videos and information out there, there's a ton of them. Some are great, some are good, and some are not so good. So if you're looking at shooting a Raptor through an HVLP gun, take a look at some of those videos, see what people are doing, and then make a decision on how you want to proceed. Raptor says you can shoot through the HVLP and you can reduce it down. I believe it's up to 20%. So I'm gonna mess around with that as well, because I want a certain look to the liner when it goes on to the Bronco. The other thing is that in this case, with this paint, this color with no binders, etc. So I bought 2 quarts. It ends up turning out to be just over a quart, because the binders and all the additives on top of the color are not put in there. So you just get the raw paint. So with that in mind, there's a lot of metallic in this paint, a ton. And Raptor even says, hey, be aware that if you are adding a metallic paint, be aware that some of those metallics, or a lot of those metallics, may end up sinking into the Raptor liner. So the reason that I want to first off mess around with reducing the Raptor, because my thought behind it is that no matter how things turn out here today, that I can then come back and mix up a reduced amount of Raptor and thin it out with the color added in there, and then shoot it through an HVLP. And my idea behind it is to then play around with the distance, the amount of product that is going to be sprayed through the gun, the different pressures, and how much air is going through the gun. So I'll have a lot of more adjustability with an HVLP gun in controlling how much product comes out with the color, as opposed to just a Schutz gun. And in this case, I'm going to be using this newer model gun, new to me anyway. This has an adjustable tip on it, so I'm going to play around with this. I've seen a lot of videos. I've never used this gun, so I'm excited to try this one out. Normally, when I've shot this liner in the past or other brand name primers, I've used just the standard gun. It's got a pretty large bore on it. Going back to this other one, it's kind of cool because in the kit, it actually comes with a air pressure gauge and a regulator in the kit, and then you can adjust the tip on there, and there is quite a bit of adjustability. Again, I've just seen videos of it and it looks like it's pretty effective. So I may end up accomplishing the same thing that I'm thinking about towards the end to make sure that the color is what I'm looking for by using the same gun, and therefore just staying with the same consistent look. I'm going for a more smooth look on the Bronco, and so my plan is to see if I can get that accomplished today. So stick around. All right, a couple of things going on. So I've got some headlight rings. These are actually fiberglass, and I just hung them yesterday to complete the priming process. Today, however, I'm going to be shooting these with the Raptor. So my thought behind it is I don't need full coverage, you know, on the backside, on the inside that you're never going to see. So with that in mind, I still would like to get beyond the edge. You can see that beyond the edge, underneath the lip there. And my thought behind it is that if I can get around to this backside, it's going to be, I think, a lot stronger in the long run. It'll be able to hold that edge a lot better to prevent chipping, if in fact that's even a concern. But my thought is to mark with a pen these 3 headlight holes, and then I'm going to come in there with some large screws from the bottom. What that's going to do is just suspend this headlight ring off the surface of the cardboard, so when I shoot it, I will easily just be able to go up underneath there. You get the idea. All right, so they're popped through there. What I've done on the backside is just added a piece of adhesive tape just to hold them up so they don't fall back through. At any rate, this just gives you an idea of what it is I'm talking about. So this is what I've done for just spraying the primer on there on the backside, so it worked out pretty well. But this is dry, so we're good. But it just shows you an idea that you can do, just taking some screws and suspending, you know, an item by, in this case, by the screw holes, so that I can better get all the way around there without having to handle it.
All right, so here we go. Just blasted. All right, so just mixed up my first one, and I'm totally geared up. So got the liner. That's my recipe. All right, 24 ounce Raptor liner, 8 ounces of hardener. I'm going 90 on the color, and no reduction right now. So we'll just see how it shoots with the adjustable gun. And the way I've set it up is I'm leaving my color in the original container, and I basically just took a 1 ounce cup and made a little hanger so I can actually stir up my paint, which is a gorgeous magnetic silver. So we'll see how it looks. I'm going to try 90, which is just shy of 10%, and we'll see how it looks. So remember, on your Raptor liner, you have a 1 hour pot life. The information I've researched is that, you know, just mixing up 1 bottle at a time, keeping with consistent measurements along the way is important, so that you're getting that consistency. And then also it's recommended that between 2 of your bottles that you're spraying, that you actually take a break and actually clean your gun. You actually just run some reducer through your gun to clean inside of the pickup tube and inside of your trigger assembly, and then of course outside here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So every 2 bottles, I'm actually going to take a quick break and clean it up. That's my plan. Here we go. All right, so just shooting a couple of adjustments here. You see the pattern. I think it's really important, you know, that you're going to overlap, right, all the wet spots. And of course, you're not going to be shooting this way, but I'm just trying to get my pattern down. So that's pretty much the texture, and it's pretty darn smooth. So I'm happy with that. And again, if it's not smooth enough for me, what I'm going to end up doing is going back over it, and I will reduce it with the HVLP gun. Here we go. Okay, so climbed in there and got those hard to reach places. Worked really well, looks great. Unfortunately, the gun's already broke. So I've got to take a quick time out, hustle up and fix or come up with some remedy for this trigger assembly. So I don't know what happened, but this plastic came apart and broke. So I'm going to attempt to get that pin out and see if I can get this screwed, glued, or something, because otherwise I cannot push this pin. It requires that leverage on that handle. So I'll see what I can come up with. Oh. All right, so we just sprayed, I don't know, 2 cubic feet, and the handle on this thing has come apart. So I'm going to see if I can get this pin apart. It looks like I can. It's got a little C-clip on it. And see if I can come up with some way of attaching that trigger or come up with something for the trigger system. I like the gun, like the spray, like the pattern. I don't like the fact that 60 seconds into using it, this trigger is either defective or something, but it broke, and I have no idea why. So anyway, I'll see what I can come up with, but this is, so far, time is of the essence, right? So I just did literally that inside, and then on this side I did the same thing, just the inside rail of the bed. So I'm really bummed. That's going to take me some time. So anyway, see what I can come up with. All right, so yeah, unfortunately this thing just broke apart. So it was in 2 pieces. I do keep some epoxy around. I just went ahead and squirted the whole tube in. I know it's way overkill, but I just want time is of the essence. This cures in 15 minutes, and this is structural. So I'm going to just let this kind of glob through. I will run a drill bit through there to make sure it's the same size as the pin, but that is highly disappointing. So for right now, I'm actually just going to attempt to come up with something to manipulate the trigger. All I need to do is just squeeze it full throttle and go. This certainly will make it easier, but that's just a bummer. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. It literally split that tube in half. So not a complaint, just a fact. So we'll see if this structural epoxy does me any good, and I'll let you know. All right, so I have an old Schutz gun. It's a little bit different configuration as far as how things work, but it's an older one, so I went ahead and just popped the pin out. Unfortunately, the width and the pin diameter are not, the same. So I just grabbed the old drill. I'm just trying to hustle a little bit, get a little MacGyver going. So I'm going to try this right now. It fits in between there. So I'm hoping it'll be able to, it fits in between there. And so let me pop the pin in and see if I can make this thing work. I think that might be just the solution for right now, and I'm just going to leave this plastic one to die. So anyway, that's what I got going on. Just trying to hustle through. I'm about 3-4 minutes in on the repair. All right, kids, so that's going to work. Yeah, so luckily I had the trigger from an old Schutz gun, totally crummy one. I did not want to take apart the brand new Upol one I have, which is my backup. But I had to make do. So yeah, I've got the trigger assembly. It's a little sloppy in there, but it's a full pull. So we are back in business. Yeah, thank goodness I have that. So I think I'm just going to leave the plastic one, and it's probably just going to go in the garbage. So yeah, this is going to work out just fine. I don't need a big fancy long black one that doesn't last 2 minutes. So all right, man, we're back in business. All right, I'll take you with me. Let's go. This is really challenging. So my plan is this, right? To attack my tailgate on the back, on the inside, which would be the inside. And then I'm going to move it from that hanger back over to this one, which is going to give me a lot of space here. And then I'll shoot the outside of the tailgate. And then I'm going to move to the doors. And then that way I can move the doors back into position over next to the tailgate. And then I'm going to work on the hood. I can get on the backside real easily. Then I'm going to move over here to the grill, finally to the fenders, and then I will begin the body. And I'll be starting on one corner and just working my way around, hitting on my jams, and then let it flash for my hour. And then we're back in business for round number 2. So that's what we're doing. So again, just about what you want to be doing. So here we go. Remember, for a good consistent coverage, you want to be perpendicular to whatever it is that you're shooting. Remember, I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 coats, so I just need to get a good coat in between there. Hard to do with the camera, so I'm going to put it down, but you get the gist of it. I'll give you a little spray and go. Again, just work it consistent. Good consistent speed. You can see I missed a spot there, messing around with the camera. Just come in here, run your same speed. There you go. You want to avoid that tiger striping. Anyway, yeah, it's turning out really well. I'm happy with it. You do have a lot of consistent coverage. The color is really dark. It'll lighten up a little bit when it's dry, but that's it, man. I'm going to get back to it, hustle, and I'll try to take you through some more of this as we go along.
Well, if you're thinking about doing the Raptor liner, I highly suggest it. It turned out a little bit darker because, as advertised, the metallics actually do bury in the Raptor, so the darker color stands out. So this just gives you an idea of what it looks like. I mean, there definitely is the silver metallic in there. I was expecting a little bit more, so I think it looks good against the purple. And don't worry, the video is only 30 seconds longer. But I want to show you the contrast between the Raptor liner and black powder coat. So there really is a difference. But man, I think it turned out pretty darn good. So yeah, I'm gonna let this stuff cure and get the rest of this stuff stripped down, cleaned up. But I wanted to share this video with you and just show you how it turned out. Raptor liner.